Out of the box, the iPhone 13 has a lot of buried settings that can have a tremendous negative impact on your usage. We're going to talk about those. We also have a special tip for iPhone 13 Pro and 13 Pro Max users. But first, let's open the Settings app, scroll down.
Sneaky Apple trying to get some of these settings in there.
Tap Privacy. Let's tap Tracking at the top. Let's start here. Allow apps to request to track.
When you allow apps to request to track, look at you, you've got them all turned on.
Yeah.
When you have this switch on, first off, it's annoying. I actually turned this on to do a different video, and all of a sudden I'm opening all my apps, so they say, hey, Facebook would like to track your activity across other apps. Okay, who's gonna say yes to that anyway?
Me.
Just turn this switch off at the top.
I think they're kind of banking on you not really reading the pop-up and then just tapping allow. Facebook hates this setting. They took out a full-page ad in the New York Times.
New York Times, Washington Post.
So
they're saying it's gonna destroy small businesses.
Yeah. I don't think so.
What?
So you have a couple options here. You can go one by one and turn off this for specific apps if you don't want these apps to track you. Or what I like to do, tap that switch at the top of the screen. You'll get this pop-up, ask apps to stop tracking. Done.
Yep. If you ask nicely, they're probably not going to track you.
And when you turn this switch off, the apps can't even ask you. So in the future, you open up, I don't know, the Snapchat, and they say, they can't even say, can we track you? Because the switch is off.
Switch is off. They can't ask to track.
Next, we're going to tap back to Privacy, scroll down, and tap on Record App Activity. This switch is on by default. Leave it on. Unfortunately, this feature hasn't been fully built out
They really
yet.
haven't delivered their promise on this one. It's got a nice little graphic on the Apple website.
Yep.
It's supposed to be able to see all of the different websites and services that the apps are connecting to. And I just don't think that they've found a way to display that information to people yet in a way that isn't going to freak them out.
Right. Right now, you can tap Save App Activity and then download like a JSON file.
JSON, JavaScript, object notation.
But I don't think most people know how to open that and then parse through the data to get anything useful. So we'll just leave this on, and I think, subsequent iOS updates will have a nice display here, but for now.
Hey, I took a look at the JSON file, and it's just like ridiculous. I think there's going to be an uproar when people discover just how often this is happening. And it's a lot.
Yep. If you like these tips, please give this video a thumbs up. Takes a second, helps us out.
It doesn't take that long.
Tremendously.
I mean, once you get there, it only takes a click.
One click.
Boom.
Easy.
It's that easy, and it really does help us. Thank you.
Let's tap back to Privacy, upper left-hand corner of the screen. Come up here, we're gonna tap on Location Services. First things first, leave this Location Services switch on at the top of the screen. We don't recommend turning it off entirely because, we're not crazy.
Yeah, and we've, people in the comments section, they'll say, you guys, you're telling us to turn off all the features on the phone so we can't use the phone. And we're not those people. Those people just come and they comment on our videos, and they don't like us, but we like you.
What you should do, look through this list of apps here. Which apps do you want tracking your location, using your location, and specifically look for the word always, because that means that app always has access to your location. Can be a bit of a battery drainer.
Yep.
So right here, I've got DraftKings set to always. DraftKings is a daily fantasy sports website. It's not legal in every state, but it is here in New York, and they need my location to confirm that I'm actually in New York.
Right.
So,
they might be draining your wallet, but don't let them drain your battery
no,
too.
they're not draining my wallet yet.
Okay.
And I actually had an issue with this app specifically. I was driving home up I-87 and DraftKings used my location like 36 times on a 2-hour drive, and I was just like,
what are you doing? Yeah, it's draining the battery.
So,
pretty amazing.
While using the app, anytime you open the app, it has access to your location, and I think that's sufficient enough for pretty much any app that you
Yeah, I mean, unless you've got the app on your screen all the time, it's not going to really drain your battery.
Yeah, precise location too. Always plus precise location is really the battery killer, where it's really pinpointing exactly where you are.
Did you know that when app developers make these apps, they can choose 7 different levels of specificity, and the closer it gets to where you actually are within a few feet, the more battery it uses. That's what David just said. We'll cut that part out of the
That's
video.
great. No, I think
fun
that
fact.
7 layers. There you
7
go.
layers.
Tip of the day. Let's tap back to Privacy. We're going to come down here next. Tap on System Services. We've got a whole bunch of switches turned on and a whole bunch of colorful arrows.
Yeah, watch out for those purple arrows, especially the hollow purple arrows, which are geofencing. But Apple Pay merchant identification.
Yes.
People think that this is like gonna break their phones if they turn it off. It is not gonna break your phone if you turn this off, especially stuff like the scary ones, Wi-Fi calling, networking and wireless. Networking and wireless has to do with the U1 chip, which is included, of course, in the iOS 13. This is iPhone 13, whatever. They should make them farther apart if they want me to keep them straight. Wi-Fi calling. Are you going to a different country where Wi-Fi calling is set up differently and therefore your phone has to configure itself differently? If you're not going to a different country, you don't need to have this on.
Similarly, if you're not going to a different time zone, you don't need to have setting time zone on. So the ones we're leaving on, emergency calls and SOS, Find My iPhone. Some people do use Share My Location, to share their location with friends and family.
Right.
So you may want to leave that one on if that's a feature that you actively use. But the rest of this stuff is just,
Right. So for instance, HomeKit. I have a lot of smart devices. But the way I use HomeKit is that, for instance, whenever I plug my phone into my car to leave, that's what makes all the changes in my house. What puts the thermostat in eco mode and turns off the lights. I don't use the geofencing feature. I just say, okay, when I'm getting in the car to go somewhere, check to see how far away I am from home. If I'm in the drive, just turn everything off. Anyway, continue.
Next, we're going to scroll down. Underneath these system services, we have significant locations. I got a Face ID here. Significant locations saves a list of all the places you visit most often. I turned it on just for this video. I always turn it off. I don't use it. It's a battery drainer. A little weird seeing all these recent records of where you are, and it's just...
Right. Significant locations, as we usually say, used to be called frequent locations. I wonder if when they got together at Apple and they had that conversation, like, people are complaining about this. Oh, well, we can fix it.
If you're someone who really likes having your photos tagged by Apple with a specific location, this will help out with that. But
yeah,
I'm just going to turn that off. And they create those custom albums for you, like, oh, you went on a trip to New York City. Now that that's off, let's tap back. We're going to keep going down here. Product improvement. We feel that Apple can improve their own products. And iPhone Analytics specifically, anytime you update your iOS, whether it's, a major update or a minor update, the first thing that Apple shows you after the update is complete is, hey, turn on iPhone Analytics. And I think it's another situation people are just going to tap, tap, tap. I just want to use my phone and it's updated.
Right. I think they're banking on that. Sneaky Apple. This is turning off the location part of iPhone Analytics, but not all of iPhone Analytics.
Yeah. We'll get there in just a second. But first, we got this status bar icon. This is not on by default.
Right. I like it to be on. So does David. That's why we're setting it up.
You can see when your iPhone is using your location. It's just a little bit helpful there.
Yeah. If it's using it all the time, there might be a problem.
Let's tap back, upper left-hand corner of the screen, back again, and we're going to scroll down on the privacy page. Let's talk about analytics and improvements. You just kind of reference this. Here it is.
Yeah, if you're thinking like, oh, this isn't doing anything, you just look at analytics data and take a scroll through that list.
It's long.
Yep, and each one of these files is pretty big. This data is getting to Apple somehow. It's using your cellular data, it's using the battery in your phone to collect all the data. Turn off Share iPhone Analytics, and you will save cellular data, battery, and maybe, I don't know, that's it.
That's about it. You can save time too by just tapping the switch at the top of the screen. It turns them all off.
Yep, exactly.
Let's tap back one more time, and we're talking about Apple advertising personalized ads.
Turning off personalized ads will limit Apple's ability to deliver relevant ads to you, aka Apple's ability to make money off of you, but not reduce the number of ads you receive.
Which might not be true because the less information advertisers have about you, less valuable of an advertising target you are, you might see ads, and you also will still see relevant ads.
Exactly, yeah. So you might not see ads that are personalized to you, but in the absence of that data, they will personalize the ads to the app that you're in. So if you're in the Airbnb app, you might see other travel ads because they can figure, okay, hey, he's interested in travel. But they won't know that you went to eBay and looked up coffee makers. So you won't be seeing the coffee makers in the Airbnb app. It's not like you're going to see trash ads because Apple is not going to allow trashy advertisers to get into their ad network. It's amazing how much pushback we get on this specific setting from people who want to leave it on. Turn it off for a week. If you're traumatized by the ads that you see that are not relevant, we will apologize in a future video.
Leave a comment down below. Tell us about your experience.
Yeah, we will apologize to you, but only if you subscribe to us.
So we're gonna turn that switch off, and as you just said, please subscribe to this channel.
Subscribe because we are trying to reach 1 million subscribers. By when?
End of the year.
End of the year. Pretty ambitious, but we can do it with your help. We need your help for that.
Earlier in this video, we pitched a setting that's just for iPhone 13 Pro and 13 Pro Max users. Let's go to the camera section of your iPhone. And while we're there, we also have a tip for all iPhone 13 users. So stick around with us here. Let's go down, tap on camera, tap on formats. We've got this new video capture on iPhone 13 Pro, iPhone 13 Pro Max, Apple ProRes.
ProRes, yeah. This is a pro feature-ish that you really should not turn on.
Unless you're like a professional videographer recording movies with your iPhone.
Right. I think that some people will be curious about this and they'll say like, okay, let me try it out. First off, if you're not a professional, it's gonna just take up a lot of space and you're not gonna really see a difference. It really is for professionals who take the video they take on their iPhone and put it into Final Cut Pro or Adobe Premiere Pro and then do all sorts of color correction, and it just has all this extra data that makes the images look better. But if you just turn this on and you don't know what you're doing, you're gonna run out of iPhone storage space like that.
Yeah, so when I open the camera app with this on, it's like, oh, you have 30 minutes left of video recording. You know, I've got like 240 gigabytes of storage space left, and you get 30 minutes. And I think it even says right here, a minute of 10-bit HDR ProRes is approximately 1.7 gigabytes for HD and 6 gigabytes for 4K. I mean, that's just massive. Also, transferring these gigantic video files from your iPhone to your computer, it just takes a really long time.
Right, 2.5 minutes to transfer 1 minute of this type of video. So if you're transferring an hour, that's 2.5 hours to transfer an hour.
The best case scenario too.
Best case, yeah.
Don't do it.
Leave it off.
Turn that switch off for now. I mean, it's cool to try out once and then, you know.
Yeah, and if you do try it out for like 10 seconds and then transfer that file.
That's our tip for iPhone 13 Pro and Pro Max. Let's tap back to camera. The rest of the tips are for all iPhone users, really. Let's tap on preserve settings. We like to turn on this switch next to preserve camera mode.
I think it's a conspiracy. Apple wants to get you to use more storage on your phone so that you use more iCloud storage space, and then they can get that like monthly fee from you. So a lot of these settings we tell you to turn on, and what it does is it limits the amount of storage that your photos use. Camera mode is more of a convenience thing, but live photo at the bottom is really the one that I think they bank on. Yeah, unless you're like taking a picture of somebody on a Ferris wheel, which is their use case. No, live photos are actually little video files. So if you ever get a photo from somebody, I mean, these are many times larger than a regular photo. So they take up a ton of space, take a lot of cellular data too when you're transferring them. Leave this on and then turn off live photo in the Photos app.
Let's tap back to camera. And I think we kind of lied about one more setting that's just for iPhone 13 Pro and Pro Max, and that is auto macro. If you scroll all the way down here, auto macro. Turn it on, it'll automatically switch to that macro lens when you're in the 0.5 camera.
Yep.
And you go up close on an object. When auto macro is not on, you tap the screen and do it manually. It's just easier to set it to macro.
Yeah, man. Auto that macro.
Auto it.
Yeah.
That's it for camera tips. We got a lot more to cover. Let's tap back to settings, scroll up, and tap accessibility, then tap motion. So the first thing to look at here is limit frame rate. The new iPhones have the 120 hertz refresh rates, finally.
Right.
It's about damn time.
I was waiting for that.
Yeah. You weren't?
No.
I mean, Androids have been doing it forever.
Yeah.
So when limit frame rate is on, it does limit the maximum frame rate of the display to 60 frames per second. If you want the 120 hertz, you gotta turn that switch off.
If you want to save some battery life, turn that switch on.
Yes.
Definitely.
And then another quick battery tip, reduce motion. This will just kind of cut down on those animations you see on the screen. So if I turn that on and I close out of the settings app, it's
more of a fade out than a swipe out. But less work for the GPU, more battery life.
It can be a bit jarring at first, but after a while, you just kind of get used to it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna turn it off for now. Next, we're gonna go back to the main page of the settings app, scroll down, and tap on Safari. A couple things to look at here. Preload Top Hit. When this is on, and you do like a Google search, it'll automatically load all the content on that top result, assuming that you wanna read that top result, which is true for a plurality of users, but not everyone. And if that page has like a lot of video files, it's a lot of data, and you're on cellular data, that can burn through data and you might not even look at that page.
Right. Battery life. You know that 60% of the time people look at that first Google result. I believe that's the number.
Oh, okay. Well, then it's the majority, not a plurality.
Plurality, the majority. What the heck is the difference?
Plurality is the most, under 50%, I think.
Was it less than that?
I don't know why I thought it was like 33.
28.5%.
Okay. So I'm going to tap that switch, turn it off. Then I'm going to come down here. Let's talk about prevent cross-site tracking. Why should you turn this on?
Because you care about your personal privacy and you don't need to see ads for blenders on CNN.
All right. Then under prevent cross-site tracking, we have hide IP address. Tap on that. Hide IP address from trackers. I'd recommend choosing from trackers. Don't again, it's preventing, you know, companies, organizations from tracking you.
It's gonna anonymize your IP address, which has been a feature for some of the Google trackers. And it's saying that your IP address can be used to determine personal information, your location, can hide your IP address from known trackers. So it's not gonna solve all the problems. Basically, it's solving the problems for the ones that aren't bad, but the ones that are bad will still track.
Let's tap back to Safari. One more thing to talk about, close tabs. I am a tab hoarder. I leave open dozens and dozens and dozens of tabs, and I just never close them. Well, you can just automatically close those tabs. I have it set to 1 month, and you know, if I open a tab and I leave it there because I want to look at it later, if I don't look at it in a month, I think it's, you know,
it's
see you later.
See you later. Don't need to look at it.
Never. I mean,
Can I look at it?
No.
No, you've seen enough of that one.
If you don't want Apple to automatically close your tabs, just select manually.
Right, then you can end up with hundreds of tabs, like
Yes.
my mother.
Next, we're going to tap back to the main page of settings. Tap on Mail. First thing to talk about here is the new privacy protection feature. Protect mail activity, leave that on.
Companies often put these little tracking pixels inside of emails so that when you open the email, that pixel loads from a website like facebook.com or google.com, and then they can track you. If you want to not have them track you, turn the switch on.
Let's tap back to the main page of Mail, then tap on Accounts, and then down here, Fetch New Data. Tap on that. Right now, my iPhone is set to push.
Right. So, push means that the iPhone maintains a connection to your email server all the time. It's constantly asking, is there mail? Is there mail? Is there mail? Is there mail? That uses a lot of battery life.
Yep, so tap that switch at the top of the screen, turn it off, and then down here under Fetch, how often do you want the Mail app to fetch your emails?
Right.
I mean, every 30 minutes works for me. I don't do a lot of emailing from my iPhone, and anytime you open the Mail app, it'll fetch those emails for you. So.
Right. I'm an every 15 minutes kind of guy because I want to sort of see when it comes in, but I don't need to have it up to the second. If you're in a profession where you need to know that you got your email like that, leave this on push. If you're not, put it to every 15 minutes. You won't notice a difference.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special report.
In 3 words, David, why should people join this channel?
Awesome giveaways. Support us. That's 4.
It's 4. It always goes above and beyond.
Yeah. The next setting we're going to talk about is kind of crazy that Apple added this to the iPhone, and I found out recently it got turned back on for me without my knowledge. So tap back to the main page of settings.
Sneaky Apple.
Sneaky Apple. Come up here and tap on your name at the top of the screen. Tap on iCloud, then tap on iCloud Backup. Backup over cellular. This is only available on 5G iPhones, and you have an iPhone 13. You have this setting. When this switches on, you might be backing up your iPhone to iCloud over cellular data, which will just use all of your cellular data.
But I have an unlimited data plan, David. It doesn't matter. Well, it does, because unlimited data plans have high-speed data caps, so this would, easily burn through. Imagine you took 45 minutes of ProRes video. There's your whole cellular data. That's it. That's the high-speed data cap. You don't need this to be on.
Just back up your iPhone when you have a Wi-Fi connection.
Right, which happens automatically even if the switch is off.
Successful update yesterday. 248, that was here. I was on Wi-Fi. I know I was on Wi-Fi.
Right, and you plugged in your phone.
We're gonna tap that switch, turn it off. Another cellular data drainer. Let's tap back to the main page of the settings app. Tap on cellular and scroll down here, all the way down. I got a lot of stuff in here. To iCloud Drive. Make sure this switch is off.
Right. Oh, look at they put the iCloud backup switch in here too.
Oh, look at that.
They're
That's
putting
new.
it all over the place. Yeah. Apparently somebody complained. They were like, shouldn't this be in the cellular section too?
Yep.
It wasn't us. Good job. He was a good Samaritan. It's a good Apple.
Yep, so when iCloud Drive is turned on here, when not connected to Wi-Fi, use cellular network to transfer documents and data. That transferring will use a lot of cellular data if you have a lot of files that need to be transferred.
Right. Yep. Just protect yourself. This is a really exciting video.
How about another cellular data tip? Back to the main page of settings, scroll down and tap on Photos, and then tap on cellular data here. Turn this switch off. Turn off cellular data to restrict updates to Wi-Fi, including shared albums and iCloud photos.
Right. Unless you're out in the fields and you have a cellular connected iPad and a cellular connected iPhone that need to transfer photos using iCloud Photos immediately, and because you don't like to use AirDrop.
What did you say?
Turn this off. It's a very specific use case because photos, videos, they take up a lot of space, and it'll be a lot faster, and it'll save a lot of battery life, and it'll save your cellular data. Turn it off.
And I think by default, this is what your iPhone is going to look like. It's also going to have this unlimited updates, and that means it's just unrestricted. It'll just go and go and go and go.
It's going willy-nilly.
Yeah. So as you said, turn both of those switches off. Earlier you mentioned how Apple is starting to admit to some of these battery drainers, but there's still one that they're not admitting drains iPhone battery life. Let's tap back to the main page of the settings app, scroll up, and tap General, then tap Background App Refresh. First thing to look at here, top of the screen, set this to Wi-Fi. Again, if it's Wi-Fi and cellular data, apps that have permission to download new content in the background may do so using cellular data.
Yep.
It'll just use your data.
Right. Don't let it use your data. Cellular data, too, is sort of synonymous with battery life because if your phone is not in a really good service area, then it's going to put out a lot more power.
Let's tap back and then Here's a list of your apps. Go through this list and ask yourself which apps need to be able to download new content in the background of your iPhone. So for like messaging apps, you probably want those messages to download in the background. So when you open the app, the messages are there. But for a lot of your apps, I mean, it's just the answer is no.
Right. So let's
MailChimp?
see. MailChimp.
NBT Bank? Nope. So like Slack messaging apps. So
Yeah, because all of these, as soon as you open it, it's going to download the content. This is just waiting to download the content until you open it. And how long does it take to download the content for your bank?
pretty instantly.
Did you say NBT Bank? You have
NBT Bank. I do have an NBT account.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's a new one.
There you go.
Thanks for watching this video. Please give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed. Subscribe to this channel for more great iPhone tips. We have tips for all iPhones, not just the iPhone 13.
Yep, sure do.
And join this channel. A lot of great perks. More information in the description section below.
Thanks.